The worst purchases on Storage Wars. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the SCREENY. Putting a price on a storage unit without properly seeing what's inside is pretty much impossible. But that never stopped the stars of Storage Wars from trying. You can't make a profit on this reality show without taking a leap of faith every once in a while, but some of the biggest gambles also led to the biggest disappointments. Let's take a look at the worst purchases on Storage Wars. Before we take a stroll down memory lane, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more amazing videos every day. Number 7. Brandi's first time.
Nothing.
There's not nothing. There's some stuff in here.
What is that? Empty.
Jared and Brandi are usually inseparable, and the episode Brandi's First Time thought them things should probably stay that way. For the first time ever, Brandi arrived at the auction alone because her partner was too busy supervising the expansion of their thrift store. They agreed going their separate ways this time around was the best case scenario, but the rest of the Storage Warriors were surprised to see Brandi by herself. Dave Hester said she's a better buyer than Jared and jokes that she couldn't do any worse. But Brandi quickly proved them wrong. A storage unit filled with Coca-Cola collectibles caught her eye, and she went for it even though she knew Jared wouldn't be too happy about it. She could have made an impressive profit, but Daryl Sheet swooped in and proved to be more persistent. Brandi still wasn't giving up and decided to go all in when she came across a locker filled with dozens of mysterious boxes. Everyone wanted to know what was inside them, but she was the only one ready to cash out $2,600 in order to do so. Jared helped her go through all of the items but wasn't impressed by the haul. The safe they opened was completely empty, and the boxes were filled with a bunch of useless garbage. Brandi didn't want to let go and kept on going through them and hoped that she'll find something amazing. But that moment never came, and she was $2,300 short thanks to this disastrous locker. Number 6. Hooray for Holly Weird.
How do you know this wasn't Abe Lincoln's hat?
There's not a hole in it?
Well, for the bullet.
Buying a unit filled with dozens of mysterious boxes is always boom or bust, since there's no way of knowing if you'll actually stumble upon something valuable inside. Barry decided to take a gamble on a locker like this in an episode of Storage Wars that took place in North Hollywood, in hope that it once belonged to some rich movie star. Barry spent $2,000 on this storage unit, and it was so obvious it was a bust that Jared jokingly offered to help him take the boxes to the dumpster. The collector probably wished he took him up on his offer, since the majority of the stuff he found belonged in the trash. Going through this locker was entertaining if nothing else, since Barry stumbled upon some of the weirdest items ever, including hot sauce, someone's hair, and handcuffs that could have easily been part of some S&M set. Barry thought he would be able to make some money once he found an interesting vintage hat and decided to have it appraised. After the expert told him that the hat was only worth $450, Barry tried to convince him there's a possibility it once belonged to Abraham Lincoln, but his trick wasn't working and he walked away empty-handed. Number 5. Flight of the Gambler.
So much weight here at Brandon's 450.
You can't win if you don't play.
Don't start giving me the more you know after school special line.
Jared Schleuse and Brandi Passante became Storage Warriors because they were hoping the items they could buy could be sold in one of their stores. When the series started filming, they owned the Now and Then thrift store in Orange, California, and decided to expand once the business started booming. A couple of years later, they opened a second location in Long Beach, but it wasn't the big success story they were hoping for. The premiere of Season 5 showed to the world their new store wasn't doing so well, and a couple of reckless decisions they made along the way didn't do them any favors. That very episode featured a segment showing the young guns at the auction in Montebello, where they squandered away $3,700 on a single unit. Once Jared and his guys went through the locker, they found a bunch of crap that proved to be completely useless. Brandi was furious after learning that they spent all that money for nothing, but the bad news just kept on coming in. She visited the Long Beach location for the first time that day and was was completely baffled after seeing 0 visitors and completely stacked shelves. She confronted Jared and asked for an explanation, and he finally admitted that they hadn't made any profit since opening the store. The couple eventually closed the Long Beach shop, and this revelation made us wonder if they managed to turn a profit with any of the lockers they bought in the past. Number 4. Almost the greatest show on earth.
But all I've got is the tired part and not the retired part.
Keep your day job.
Keep my day job, thank you.
Storage Wars fans are not used to seeing Dave Hester lose money, but one of his most worthless lockers took him on a pretty amazing adventure. Before the big auctions even started, the mogul had a big fight with Jared, and things got a little bit personal when the bidding battles started out. Dave was bidding just to make sure Jared wouldn't get his hands on anything good, and they took things too far. After coming to the conclusion a locker filled with auto parts could be worth thousands, both men decided to give it all they've got. Dave shocked everyone by immediately offering $5,000, and he pulled this risky move after the rumors he's going broke started circling around. Jared wasn't willing to spend such a huge chunk of cash, but he knew Dave would if he pushed him hard enough. He started bidding out of whim and gave up once the price reached $8,000. Despite being pretty impressive, this locker just wasn't worth that much money. Dave thought he hit the holy grail after stumbling upon a violin with the signature of Antonio Stradivari. He was so astonished that he started plotting his early retirement before having the instrument appraised. Once he contacted the experts, it turned out he would only get a couple hundred for the violin after spending even more money to have it fixed up. The expert told him to keep his day job, and it proved to be good advice since he lost $2,000 that day. Number 3. Straight into Compton. BIDDAZ and Attitude.
Weiss took his motorcycle tires to the races, and he went home Bonneville, salt, flat, broke.
Barry Weiss is one of the most reckless buyers on Storage Wars, and he stayed true to his reputation during an auction that took place in Compton. After seeing a couple of pretty impressive toolboxes, the collector decided he'll do everything in his power to become the new owner of this intriguing locker. He wasn't the only one who felt that way, and the rest of the main cast quickly joined in this epic face-off. Once Barry offered $3,500, they collectively decided it's better to pull out, and it turned out to be a smart choice. Once he went through the whole unit, those toolboxes that caught everybody's eyes in the beginning turned out to be worthless. Once he started opening the stacks, they were all empty, and Barry realized things aren't looking up so good anymore. Despite containing a couple of cool items, the toolboxes were the selling point, and he couldn't make thousands of bucks back if there was nothing inside them. Barry was still impressed by a set of tires he found inside the unit, and knew he could make a couple of hundred after finding a buyer. The experts he got in touch with confirmed his suspicions and told him he could get around $800 for the whole set. That still wasn't enough to break even, but getting out of there and watching a salt flat race was enough to make him forget about the $2,000 loss. Number 2. Operation Hobo.
Like purchase sparked Daryl Sheets into blowing his wad in an overpriced man cave, costing the gambler over $3,000.
Spending $6,650 on a single unit is a pretty risky move, but Daryl Sheets is ready to risk it all when he sees a juicy locker. He also tends to get pretty stubborn when he's going head-to-head with a buyer who's just as passionate, and he certainly found his match in Nabila Hannis. Once she set her eye on a jaw-dropping locker in Harbor City, she just wouldn't let it go, and Dave Hester was so intrigued by their bidding war that he decided to join in. With 3 big players in the game, the price quickly jumped up to $6,650, and Sheets was the only one ready to pay that much. Unfortunately, it proved to be one of the worst gambles of his life, since the unit didn't contain a lot of impressive items. Daryl and his son Brandon stumbled upon a lot of stuff they could sell for $100 or $2, but when you cash out $6,650 on the spot, you come to expect a little bit more. They kept on digging, and at one point it seemed like their patience paid off, since the locker contained a blowgun in a pretty good shape. After having it appraised, Sheets learned he wouldn't break even if he sold it, and ended up losing $3,120 after appraising all the items he came across. Number 1. unclaimed baggage.
Left him with a loss of $250. And Barry Weiss lost his ass by keeping his head.
Barry Weiss was running late for an auction that took place in this episode, and everyone was excited to see him once he finally showed up. By the end of the day, the collector probably wished he stayed at home, since the locker he bought turned out to be a total waste of money. A majority of the buyers immediately backed out after the storage unit was opened, since it didn't look extremely impressive, but one mysterious box caught Barry's eye. He was so intrigued that he decided to go all in. Barry was going head-to-head with Dave Jr., who also wanted the box for himself, but he came out victorious and cashed out $1,525 to become its new owner. The collector was head over heels after sealing the deal, but the rest of the Storage Wars stars felt like he made a bad judgment. Once he stepped inside the locker, it turned out his rivals were right. He stumbled upon a bunch of worthless crap, and even the items that seemed valuable at first glance turned out to be useless. The red suitcase that caught everyone's eye was empty, and Dave Hester agreed to help him take out the rest of the furniture and split the profits in half. The only valuable thing he found inside was a strange wooden head by the artist Mike Meadow, but Barry wanted to keep it and failed to make any money. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content, and don't forget to check out one of the other 2 videos on your screen.